happens when you let a 14-year-old own two Subarus. This, whatever it is. My name's Austin. This is my 2004 Subaru Impreza Outback Sport, and you are watching Road Rush Garage. So yeah, a little bit more about me. My name's Austin. I'm 14 years old, and I own two Subarus. I own this pictured blue 2004 Subaru Impreza WRX, and this 2004 Subaru Impreza Outback Sport. So this I would call the Blob Eye because this was made in between the Bug Eye and the Hawkeye, which were the three variants of facelift that Subaru made from 2002 to 2007. The good thing to know about Subaru is that this has a boxer engine, which means the pistons go out like that, like they're boxing. So this Subaru in particular has a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated boxer engine paired with an automatic transmission, all-wheel drive, all of that good stuff that every Subaru from this time period came with. But that's not lasting forever. That is because this little wagon right here is getting a WRX swap. So this is actually some of the reminiscence of my donor car. So yeah, by the end, this thing's gonna have a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder boxer paired with a 5-speed manual transmission. So more things about the wagon. I got it last year, 2024, in around October off of Facebook Marketplace. Drove it all the way home for 2 hours, and now, like 3 months later, now I'm starting to plan to tear into it and get this drivetrain swap going. Let me get into what I actually have done to this car so far. I have a very blue fender on it, and it doesn't have a front bumper cover right now, and it doesn't have a fender on this side, and I'll get more into why. So this car does not have a front bumper because, well, it's up there. And you may be like, Austin, it's up there. And the car's right here. Why not just put it on the car? And that would be because I've been trying to get a fender for this because the one that I got from the donor car was damaged and I could not fix it. And any true Subaru enthusiast knows that it is impossible to get a sedan blob eye fender. So yeah, I mean, it's just riding fenderless for now, and I can't really put the front bumper on until I have the fender on. So it just doesn't have any of the either. So some more things I've done to it. I've swapped the front brakes for drilled and slotted rotors. And if you couldn't see, I got all 4 WRX rims with brand new tires off of Facebook Marketplace. And then on the inside, I have swapped in the WRX seats. Now, I'll show you the bad spots and some of the weak spots with this car, which I'm planning to fix. So there's a little bit of rust right here. And then on each cab corner, it is rotted out. And I have stripped out the whole rear interior of this Subaru. And that's because most Subarus, this wagon in particular, has a really bad rust problem with the rear strut towers. Most of these Subarus who are living in the rust belt like this one, 9 times out of 10 probably have rust. So this one, it's actually better than I thought. I could probably fit about a finger in there, a little bit smaller. So even though this one has a small hole, it will still need to have to be cut out to be replaced. And then this side is a little better, but still has some pretty bad rust on it. I'll probably touch more on the topic of how I want to take this build in the future in a later video. So now that the introduction to the main project car is done, now let's head over to the donor car. Woo! Welcome to the donor car. Also, if you hear any horses in the background, that's why. This is a 2004 Subaru Impreza WRX. This is where we'll be getting our drivetrain for the Subaru. And it's in some pretty rough shape, which hence is why it's not the project car. So a little bit more of a backstory on this. I bought this when I was 11 back in... When I was 11, it was probably back in 2021, 2022. It was supposed to be the main project car, but I didn't want to have to deal with that structural damage, so That's why it's the donor car. So even though this car had really bad structural damage, it still has a lot of good parts. More things that we did to this car before we decided to make it the donor car is that we put a brand new radiator in it, got a brand new front bumper cover, which will be probably going on the wagon, got 2 fenders, which one of them obviously doesn't work, and then got a hood. Also got 2 brand new headlights for this, and just some more things here and there. And right now it's kind of rotting here back in the junkyard, as we call it, parked next to the horse trailers. This is where I store all of the old parts, either from the wagon or just parts that I'm not going to use anymore. So more about this car is it has a 2-liter boxer turbocharged engine. On the inside, the whole interior is stripped. This is because all of the interior pieces will be going inside of the wagon. That's kind of a big reason why this is a donor car, because that don't look too good. And just some more chaos on the main body. So the plan is that once we take the drivetrain out of this, we may hack into the engine a little bit and probably replace and bulletproof some parts. I'm not sure what I want to get yet, but if you have any recommendations on what I should get for my 2004 Subaru, be sure to leave a comment below and I'll definitely look into it. So after an introduction to the donor car in the junkyard, let's head back to the garage. I don't know a lot about the backstory to this car, but what I can kind of get from an estimate of what I've seen so far is that it probably sat in a barn for a few years, because I found dog food and rats in this car. And I think coming up to this point, it was then used and abused as a winter beater, and then it got, the bad rust and all that stuff. But luckily it isn't too bad, and the miles are still kind of on the low end. Funny enough, wouldn't start. I don't know if that's foreshadowing or not, but it didn't run for 2 weeks, and I found out it was a wiring issue and fixed that up, and now it runs just fine. Does donuts really well. And the main goal is to see if I can enter it in one of the car shows around Michigan. I'm thinking of doing a wide body kit, everything to it. And coming from a 14-year-old with 0 experience, this is going to be a wild ride. But I'm glad that I get to take you guys with me so you can also see this car get built up into something pretty cool. Now that you're all caught up with the Subaru, stay tuned because there's going to be some pretty big changes around here. Soon we're going to be taking it to the shop to start with the swap, and then things will be really taking off there. Okay, I think that's good enough.